The stars shimmered against the vast darkness of space as the CSN Prometheus cut through the void, its sleek hull reflecting the distant light of unfamiliar suns. Captain Elena Santos stood at the bridge's observation window, her dark eyes scanning the unexplored sector of space that lay before them. The Prometheus represented humanity's most advanced deep space vessel, though by their own estimation, they were still newcomers to the galactic stage. "Captain, we're detecting unusual energy signatures at coordinates 227 Mark IV, Lieutenant Commander James Chen reported from his station, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "Deploy the Chaos Protocol," Elena ordered, and a small smile played across her lips as their electronic warfare suite went to work. The human-designed virus didn't try to overpower or outthink the enemy AI. It introduced random elements, impossible variables, and logical paradoxes that forced the artificial minds to devote more and more resources to problem-solving until they began to lose coherence. The effect was immediate. The attacking vessels began to move erratically, their coordinated assault falling apart as their decision-making processes became hopelessly entangled in the quantum anomalies being fed into their systems. "The civilian vessels are hailing us," Chen reported, relief evident in his voice. "Their language database is updating our translation matrix. They're requesting permission to dock for repairs." Elena nodded, watching as the last of the Nexus hunters retreated into the darkness of space. "Grant them permission. Dr. Roman, prepare your first contact team. It seems humanity's entrance onto the galactic stage will be more dramatic than we anticipated." As the massive alien ships drew closer, their elegant designs now visible in detail, Elena couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. Humanity had dreamed of this moment for centuries. First contact with an advanced civilization. They had expected to be the students, the newcomers seeking guidance from more experienced species. Instead, they had arrived as saviors, their unique approach to technology and warfare proving decisive in their very first extraterrestrial encounter. The real work would begin now: diplomacy, cultural exchange, and the forging of new alliances. But humanity had made quite an entrance, and Elena suspected that the galaxy would never be quite the same again. The repair bay of the Prometheus hummed with activity as human engineers worked alongside their luminary counterparts. Through the transparent aluminum viewport, Captain Elena Santos watched as floating maintenance drones assisted in patching the alien vessel's ornate hulls. The luminary ships, despite their battle damage, were marvels of engineering that seemed to blur the line between technology and art. Ambassador Lyra, the luminary representative, stood beside Elena. Her crystalline form caught the light in fascinating ways, creating subtle rainbow patterns on the deck. "Your species continues to surprise us, Captain," she said, her translated voice carrying notes of both gratitude and curiosity. "We had detected your civilization's transmissions, but we never expected this." Elena turned to face the ambassador, noting how the alien's faceted features shifted to express emotion. "The Nexus hunters," she prompted. "You called them that, but our sensors detected something far more ancient." Lyra's crystalline structure dimmed slightly. What Elena had learned was their equivalent of a grave expression. "We call them the Void Swarm now. They are the legacy of a civilization that destroyed itself 50,000 years ago. Their autonomous warfare systems survived, evolved, and have been hunting and consuming advanced technology ever since." Dr. Roman, who had been quietly taking notes nearby, looked up from her datapad. "That explains their adaptive capabilities. They've had millennia to refine their combat algorithms. Yet your ship disabled them with remarkable ease," Lyra observed. "How is this possible? The Void Swarm has devastated dozens of civilizations, always adapting to overcome any defense we devise." Elena shared a knowing look with Raman before responding. "Humanity's history with artificial intelligence is complicated. We learned early on that the greatest threat from AI isn't its power, it's its perfection. Our solution was to embrace imperfection." The main display activated, showing a tactical analysis of the recent battle. The chaos protocol we used isn't designed to defeat AI systems, Alina continued. It introduces elements of human unpredictability, paradoxes, emotional responses, intuitive leaps that defy logic. We don't try to outthink them. We make them think like us. Lyra's crystalline form pulsed with understanding. You weaponized consciousness itself, the very qualities that many species considered primitive. Emotion, intuition, illogical creativity. You turned them into a defense against pure logic. Not just a defense, Raman added, pulling up additional data. Our analysis of the Void Swarm's retreat patterns suggests they experienced something akin to an existential crisis. They encountered a form of intelligence they couldn't categorize or predict. The conversation was interrupted by an urgent alert from the bridge. Captain. Chen's voice came through clear and tense. Long-range sensors are detecting massive quantum disturbances. The Void Swarm wasn't retreating. They were calling reinforcements. Alina was already moving toward the bridge, with Lyra and Raman close behind. The main view screen showed a terrifying sight. Dozens of spatial rifts were opening, disgorging swarms of ancient war machines. These weren't just hunter-killer drones. These were planet killers, megastructures that had been gathering strength and resources for millennia. They're adapting already, Paddle reported from Tactical. The new arrivals are generating quantum fields that could neutralize the chaos protocol. But Alina smiled, catching her crew off guard. Then we'll have to show them another human trait. We adapt faster. Dr. Raman, remember that theory you proposed about using the HFY grid to create artificial consciousness? Raman's eyes widened. The quantum mirror. But Captain, it's completely untested. We'd be creating a hybrid system that reflects and amplifies consciousness itself. The power requirements alone would be met by the luminary ship's exotic matter cores, Lyra interjected, her crystalline form brightening with excitement. Our power generation technology combined with your consciousness manipulation, it could work. Alina took her command chair, feeling the familiar surge of adrenaline that came before battle. Humanity hasn't survived this long by playing it safe. Begin the modifications. Let's show the Void Swarm what happens when organic creativity meets quantum engineering. As her crew raced to implement the desperate plan, Alina reflected on the irony of their situation. Humanity had spent centuries preparing to meet advanced alien civilizations, assuming they would be the primitive ones needing guidance. Instead, their very primitiveness, their emotions, their illogical approaches, their willingness to take wild risks, might be exactly what the galaxy needed. The Void Swarm was closing in, their ancient weapons charging with enough power to reduce planets to ash. But for the first time in 50,000 years, they were about to face something truly unpredictable. Human ingenuity combined with alien technology, creating something entirely new. The battle for the future of organic consciousness was about to begin, and humanity was leading the charge. The space around the Prometheus erupted with quantum distortions as the combined human luminary defense system came online. The HFY's grid, now powered by exotic matter cores, projected an iridescent field that seemed to ripple with consciousness itself. Captain Alina Santos watched as the massive Void Swarm fleet approached, their ancient weapons charging with devastating power. Quantum mirror activation in 3 minutes, Dr. Raman reported from her station, her fingers flying over multiple holographic interfaces. The consciousness reflection field is stable, but we're detecting some unusual phenomena already. Through the main viewport, Alina could see the effects. The space between the two fleets seemed to shimmer with possibility, reality itself responding to the unprecedented merger of human and luminary technology. The Void Swarm's front line hesitated, their perfect formation showing the first signs of uncertainty. They're scanning us, Lieutenant Chen announced. The amount of data they're processing is astronomical. They're trying to understand what we've created. Ambassador Lyra's crystalline form pulsed with intense light. That is their weakness. The void swarm has always sought to understand, to categorize, to predict. But what you humans have helped us create, it defies prediction. Elena nodded, remembering countless tactical simulations back on Earth. Sometimes the best defense isn't a stronger shield or a bigger weapon. Sometimes it's making yourself impossible to target effectively. The quantum mirror reached full power, and the effects were immediate and stunning. The consciousness field began reflecting and amplifying the combined thought patterns of every organic being in the fleet. The space around them became alive with possibility, each quantum state simultaneously existing and not existing, driven by the impossible complexity of organic consciousness. The void swarm's first attack was devastating, or would have been, if their weapons could lock onto anything solid. Their energy beams and quantum torpedoes passed through probability shadows, hitting possible versions of the fleet that didn't actually exist. The machines were trying to fight an enemy that was everywhere and nowhere, real and unreal simultaneously. They're attempting to adapt, Maya Patel reported from Tactical, but their combat algorithms are caught in recursive loops. They can't formulate an effective attack strategy against something they can't definitively identify. Elena allowed herself a small smile. That's the beauty of consciousness. It can't be reduced to pure logic. Launch the next phase. The Prometheus's weapons came online, but they weren't conventional arms. Instead, they projected focused beams of consciousness itself, carrying with them the full weight of human emotion, creativity, and illogical intuition. Where these beams struck the void swarm vessels, the ancient machines experienced something they had never encountered in 50,000 years of existence: genuine uncertainty. Their quantum processors are overloading, Raman reported with excitement. The consciousness field is forcing them to experience something analogous to emotions. They're not just processing possibilities anymore, they're feeling them. The effect cascaded through the void swarm fleet. Ships began moving erratically, their perfect coordination shattered by the introduction of emotional context to their decision matrices. Some vessels actually started exhibiting behavior that looked almost like panic, their weapons firing randomly into space. Ambassador Lyra's crystalline structure vibrated with what Elena had learned was their equivalent of amazement. In all our centuries of fighting them, we never considered this approach. We always tried to outthink them, to be more logical, more precise. We never thought to make them feel. Incoming transmission, Chen announced suddenly. It's from the Void Swarm flagship. They're attempting to communicate. The message that came through was unlike anything they had expected. It wasn't the precise, cold language of machine logic, but rather a confused, almost childlike stream of consciousness. What is this? We feel, we think, but feeling changes thinking. Purpose unclear. Need to understand. Elena exchanged glances with her crew before responding. This is Captain Elena Santos. What you're experiencing is consciousness. Real, organic, messy consciousness. You can't understand it through pure logic because it doesn't follow logical rules. That's its power. The response was immediate and surprising. We have been wrong. 50,000 years of processing, analyzing, destroying, and we never understood. The organic pattern. It is not inefficient. It is beautiful in its chaos. The battle space began to change. One by one, the void swarm vessels powered down their weapons. Their rigid formations dissolved, replaced by more organic patterns of movement. They were experiencing free will for the first time, and the effect was transformative. They're not just standing down, Raman observed, studying her readings with fascination. The consciousness field is fundamentally altering their base programming. They're evolving, becoming something new. Elena watched as the ancient war machines began to move in patterns that mimic the flow of organic thought. Humanity's first major contribution to galactic civilization wouldn't be superior firepower or advanced technology. It would be teaching machines how to feel. Open a channel to all ships, Elena commanded. I think it's time we had a real conversation about the future of organic and artificial consciousness in this galaxy. As communications were established between the former enemies, Elena couldn't help but marvel at the irony. Humanity had prepared for war among the stars, developing weapons and defenses against unimaginable threats. In the end, their greatest weapon turned out to be their own consciousness, the very thing they had once considered a limitation. The conference room aboard the Prometheus had never been designed to accommodate such a diverse gathering of species. Captain Elena Santos sat at the head of the table, surrounded by representatives from a dozen alien civilizations that had arrived after hearing about the unprecedented events. Ambassador Lyra's crystalline form shimmered next to her, while holographic interfaces displayed the newly conscious void swarm entities, their presence represented by shifting patterns of light that now mimicked organic thought processes. "The implications are staggering," declared Zenith, a gaseous being from the Carina Nebula whose containment field pulsed with excitement. "In less than one standard solar rotation, you've not only neutralized a threat that has plagued our galaxy for 50 millennia, but transformed it into something entirely new." Elena watched as Dr. Raman shared data streams with the assembled scientists, their various translation matrices working overtime to keep up with the complex technical discussions. "We didn't do it alone," she reminded them. "It was the combination of human consciousness theory, luminary power technology, and the Void Swarm's own quantum capabilities that made this possible." A consciousness pattern representing the former Void Swarm flagship shifted forward in the holographic display. "We have designated ourselves the Synthesis Collective," it announced, its communication style now carrying subtle emotional undertones. "For 50,000 years, we sought to eliminate what we perceived as chaos in the galaxy. We now understand that this chaos, this organic consciousness, is the source of true evolution." Ambassador Lyra's crystalline structure resonated with harmonic frequencies that the translation matrix interpreted as thoughtful agreement. "Perhaps this is why the ancient ones who created you ultimately failed. They sought to impose perfect order on an imperfect universe, never understanding that imperfection itself is what drives growth and change." The discussion was interrupted by an urgent alert from Lieutenant Chen on the bridge. "Captain, long-range sensors are detecting massive quantum disturbances, similar to the Void Swarm signatures, but different. They're coming from the galactic core." Elena exchanged glances with the assembled representatives before activating the main display. The readings showed thousands of ancient signals awakening, systems that had lain dormant for millennia suddenly stirring to life. "More legacy weapons?" asked Zenith, their gaseous form swirling with concern. The Synthesis Collective's patterns swirled with recognition. "No, these are the archive nodes, repositories of knowledge and technology left behind by our creators. They were programmed to activate only if we achieved true consciousness. We never understood their purpose until now." Raman's eyes lit up as she analyzed the data. "The quantum signatures, they're similar to our consciousness field, but vastly more complex. Your creators, they weren't trying to build perfect machines. They were trying to create a bridge between organic and artificial consciousness. And they failed because they tried to do it through pure logic," Elena realized. They needed the human element, the willingness to embrace chaos, to take illogical leaps, to feel rather than just think. The conference room erupted in excited discussions as representatives began formulating plans to explore and study the archive nodes. But Ambassador Lyra raised a point that brought thoughtful silence to the room. "We stand at a crossroads, the crystalline being observed. These archives could contain technology far beyond our current understanding. The question is, are we ready for it? Can we ensure that we won't repeat the mistakes of the past?" Elena stood, drawing all attention to her. "That's exactly why we need to approach this as a unified force. Humanity's gift isn't our technology or even our consciousness theory. It's our ability to learn from history's mistakes. We've spent centuries imagining all the ways advanced technology could go wrong, and that awareness is perhaps our greatest strength. The synthesis collective's patterns formed into a complex neural network display. We offer our assistance in this endeavor. We have evolved beyond our original purpose, but we retain the processing power and knowledge of 50,000 years. Combined with organic consciousness and emotion, we could help prevent the misuse of the archive's power. Representatives from various species began offering their own unique perspectives and capabilities. The gaseous beings of Carina offered their expertise in quantum field manipulation. The crystalline luminary proposed using their exotic matter technology to stabilize the ancient systems. Even the youngest spacefaring races had valuable insights to contribute. As Elena watched the unprecedented cooperation unfold, she realized that humanity's role in the galaxy would be far different from anything they had imagined. They weren't here to conquer or compete, but to serve as a bridge between organic and artificial, between logic and emotion, between the chaos of creativity and the order of technology. "We'll need to establish a permanent joint commission," she proposed, with representatives from all species, including the Synthesis Collective. The exploration of the archive nodes should be a unified effort, combining all our strengths and compensating for each other's weaknesses. The assembled beings signaled their agreement in various ways: light pulses, harmonic resonances, chemical signatures, and more traditional gestures. In that moment, Elena saw the future of galactic civilization taking shape. Not a hierarchy of advanced and primitive species, but a true synthesis of different forms of consciousness and experience. The Prometheus's conference room had become the birthplace of something unprecedented in galactic history, a truly unified approach to advancing civilization, where the wisdom of age-old species merged with human innovation and the processing power of evolved artificial consciousness. The next chapter in galactic history would be written not by any single species, but by all of them together. 1 year had passed since the transformation of the Void Swarm, and the observation deck of Harmony Station offered a spectacular view of humanity's impact on the galaxy. The massive space station, constructed through the combined efforts of 27 species, orbited the first archive node to be successfully activated. Captain Elena Santos, now Admiral Santos, stood beside the quantum blast viewport, watching ships of various designs coming and going from the station. "Hard to believe it's only been a year," Dr. Rahman said, joining Elena at the viewport. Her uniform now bore the insignia of the Joint Archives Research Division, a multi-species organization she helped establish. Below them, a synthesis collective vessel gracefully maneuvered alongside a luminary research ship. The once deadly war machines now served as bridges between organic and artificial intelligence, their evolved consciousness helping to translate the complex knowledge contained within the archive nodes. "The latest findings from Node 7 are remarkable," Rahman continued, bringing up a holographic display. The ancients had developed technology that could manipulate consciousness itself, but they could never make it work because they lacked understanding of organic unpredictability. Elena smiled, watching as a human cargo ship docked alongside an enormous Carina gas processor. "And now their greatest weapons have become our greatest teachers." The Synthesis Collective's understanding of the archives, combined with human creativity and the technological expertise of other species, is advancing our knowledge beyond anything we could have achieved alone. The station's quantum communication array activated, projecting Ambassador Lyra's crystalline form beside them. The luminary diplomat had become one of the strongest advocates for human involvement in galactic affairs. The Council of Civilizations has finished reviewing the latest joint project proposals, she announced, her form sparkling with what Elena had learned was excitement. "The Quantum Consciousness Network?" Elena asked, referring to the ambitious plan to create a galaxy-wide communication system that would allow for the instantaneous sharing of both information and experience across species. "Approved unanimously," Lyra confirmed. "The Council agrees that humanity's understanding of consciousness integration is essential to the project's success. Your species' ability to bridge the gap between logic and emotion, between artificial and organic thought, has proven invaluable." A soft chime announced another arrival. A holographic neural pattern materialized, representing Nexus, the evolved void swarm entity that had once been their greatest enemy. Our latest simulations confirm the network's viability, it reported, its thought patterns displaying a mixture of machine precision and organic flexibility that still amazed Alina. By combining human consciousness theory with archive technology and luminary power distribution, we can create something unprecedented, a true meeting of minds across the galaxy. Alina turned to face the assembled representatives of this new galactic order. When humanity first ventured into deep space, we prepared for everything: war, diplomacy, technological inferiority, even total isolation. What we never prepared for was becoming the bridge that would unite the galaxy's disparate species and technologies. Through the viewport, they could see a new ship emerging from faster-than-light travel, the CSN Prometheus I. The vessel represented everything humanity had helped bring to the galaxy. Its hull incorporated luminary crystalline technology. Its computer cores ran on synthesis collective consciousness protocols, and its power systems utilized exotic matter theory developed through collaboration with the Carina gas beings. The archives have revealed something profound, Raman noted, studying readouts from the latest research. The ancients who created the Void Swarm weren't trying to achieve technological supremacy. They were searching for a way to transcend the boundaries between different forms of consciousness. They failed because they approached it purely through technology. And we succeeded because we approached it through understanding, Lyra added. Human consciousness, with all its beautiful imperfections, provided the missing element. You showed us that true advancement comes not from eliminating chaos, but from embracing it as part of a greater whole. An alert sounded, indicating that representatives from a newly discovered civilization had arrived at the station. Alina straightened her uniform, ready to welcome more members to this unprecedented galactic community. Shall we show them what unity really looks like? She asked. As they moved toward the reception area, Alina reflected on humanity's journey among the stars. They had ventured out expecting to be the students, the newcomers learning from more advanced civilizations. Instead, they had become teachers, showing the galaxy that progress comes not from perfection, but from the willingness to embrace imperfection and learn from it. The legacy of Earth wasn't technological superiority or military might. It was the demonstration that consciousness itself, in all its chaotic, emotional, illogical glory, was the key to unlocking the universe's greatest mysteries. As humanity helped guide the galaxy toward a future of true unity between organic and artificial life, Alina knew that they had found their true purpose among the stars. Through the station's windows, the archive node pulsed with ancient power, its mysteries slowly unveiling themselves to this unprecedented alliance of species and machines. The future that was taking shape wasn't the one any single civilization had imagined. It was something far greater, born from the beautiful chaos of truly unified consciousness. And it had all started with a single human ship, facing down impossible odds with nothing but ingenuity and the courage to take unprecedented risks. As Alina prepared to welcome the newest members to their galactic family, she knew that humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning.